art was his love. He loved going fishing, and it was his passion. And then his son was his devotion, everything. Everything was devoted to being there for his son.
Geez, was that far?
I can't help but feel the justice system took him away from us.
Sean Austin feels a great hole in his life left by the death of his twin brother, who he laid to rest just over a week ago.
He showed how good of a person he was in his art and in his heart. He had heart for everyone. Like on average, he would do 2 paintings a day when he was in prison.
Clinton Austin, a 38-year-old Gunditjmara and Wiradjuri man, died at Loddon Prison in central Victoria on September 11. The cause of his death is yet to be determined, and lawyers say the results of an autopsy are still months away.
We don't have fulsome information about the circumstances in which Clinton died. We only know that he passed away at Loddon Prison. And his family don't have any other details about his death at this stage. It'll be the first chance we'll be able to get some information. About
Sarah Schwartz from the Victorian Aboriginal Legal Service is representing Clinton's family in the coronial inquest into his death. He was the second Aboriginal man to die in custody in Victoria in the last month, and the third in the past 12 months.
What answers do you most want about Clinton's death?
I want to know the why, the how, the reasons why things hadn't been changed that may or may not have prevented Clinton ending up where he is.
In November 2020, Clinton Austin was sentenced to 3.5 years prison for aggravated burglary and other crimes. He was eligible for parole in January this year. Now, instead of preparing to welcome him home, his family are grieving.
We'd come from a hard life, yeah. We had done some stupid stuff when we were younger.
The Royal Commission into Aboriginal Deaths in Custody released its report in 1991, released hundreds of recommendations, and governments, including the Victorian government, still haven't implemented all of the recommendations.
From 2020 to 2021, there were 5 Indigenous deaths in New South Wales prisons, 5 in WA, 1 in Victoria and 1 death in Queensland prisons. Lawyers and advocates are also raising concerns about the level of medical care in Victorian prisons.
I represent a number of family members of Aboriginal people who've died in custody, and a common thread throughout a lot of the coronial investigations and inquests and determined findings is the poor quality of medical care that Aboriginal people receive in prison. So we know that the most common cause of death for people in prison is medical issues.
The private company that provides healthcare to Victoria's prison system declined to respond and referred 7:30 to the Victorian government. In a statement, the government said it's implementing reforms to reduce the rate of Aboriginal people on remand and in custody.
What we know is the numbers of our people being incarcerated has dramatically grown, so naturally you're going to see statistics of our people dying in custody grow as well. So it's not okay.
The latest in a long line of deaths in custody is particularly disturbing for Marcus Stewart, co-chair of the First Peoples Assembly. They're designing a framework for the Victorian government's treaty negotiations with Indigenous people. He has first-hand knowledge of the shortcomings in the prison system. He used to work there himself.
It's hard, I'd imagine, for most Victorians because we're hearing too regularly about Aboriginal people dying in custody. It's unacceptable, but we're kind of becoming numb to what we're hearing because it's happening so often. What needs to change is we need to see political appetite to deliver these reforms, to raise the age of criminal responsibility, to introduce bail reforms, to look at how we look at policing for Aboriginal people.
On Friday, the opening day of the inquest into Clinton's death, heard a few details about the hours leading up to his passing. but left more questions than answers for the grieving family.
Sean, how are you feeling after that today?
Yeah, at least we can try to move forward from here and hopefully get the answers we need. I just want those answers. I want to know every detail because there's too many things unexplained. I can't say much more until I have them answers. I want them answers though. We all want them answers. We need them. The one really good thing to come along in all this sadness. Clint would have been really proud to have met this little fella.
Clinton's twin brother Sean is also pushing for change for the next generation and plans to become an advocate fighting for prisoner rights.
Come here, buddy. Someone needs to make a difference.
Do you think you're going to make that difference?
I'm going to try. I'm going to try because it'll be all in his name. I'll do what I can.